My name is Camila Vega. I'm 31, and until this morning, I thought life was finally aligned. I'm an emergency nurse, used to chaos, but somehow the chaos in my personal life felt sharper, more intimate. My boyfriend, Daniel, and I had been together for 4 years, sharing a small, sunlit apartment in Seattle with our daughter Mia, 8. Mia adored rainbow socks, glittery stickers, and the way sunlight hit the living room just right at breakfast. Life was organized in routines: pancakes on weekdays, bus rides, work shifts, bedtime stories, until today. I woke to silence, not the kind that signals peace, but a vacuum. The smell of last night's coffee lingered in the mug I hadn't yet emptied, the bed neatly made, my phone dead silent. No messages, no knocks, nothing. Confused, I called my mother. She picked up on the second ring, voice clipped, distant. "Hey, where is everyone?" I asked. A pause stretched between us, thick enough to choke on. "We thought you were in the van with your cousins," she finally said. I pressed. Nothing. Nothing. 17 people, 4 cars, 1 family trip, without me. My stomach sank into disbelief, then a quiet, simmering heat of something I hadn't named yet. I didn't shout. I didn't cry. I just hung up. 2 hours later, my phone lit up with a notification that wasn't for me. A misdirected screenshot from my sister Emma. She'd sent it to someone else, probably her friend. It was the family group chat. 17 names, pinned itineraries, everything. Underneath, her text read, "He's really not here. OMG, our plan worked." I stared. My hands went limp over the counter. I didn't call. I didn't write back. I sat down, opened my laptop, and logged into the Airbnb account for the mountainside cabin. Quietly, I hit cancel. The refund processed immediately. $12,500. Back in my account within days. I sent a single message back. "Merry Christmas." No punctuation, no emojis, no rage, just a line they would remember. And then the calls began. 42 missed calls, then 70. One message, stark, emergency. I ignored them, because I knew something they didn't. This wasn't about a trip. It was about a pattern. For years, I had been the default. Every holiday rental, every birthday gift for cousins, every time Emma's car broke down, me. Mom once said, "You're the responsible one. That's why we lean on you." No, I was the quiet one, the one who didn't fight back, the one they thought would never notice, the one they could exploit. I had played along, and I had paid, literally, my card, my time, my patience. And today, it all ended. By the time I glanced at my phone again, the panic had become orchestral. Calls from Dad, Mom, Aunt Mary Ann, Cousin Leo, Emma again, even her boyfriend, Zach. Each one urgent, confused, desperate. I didn't respond. I just watched, a silent observer to the chaos they had created for themselves. Then came the insight from Zach, the quiet, nervous admission that broke the first layer of my disbelief. Emma had planned this trip since October. She called it her Christmas rebrand. New vibe, new family structure, which apparently meant no me. She had told Zach she would handle the Airbnb, let it slip that I had volunteered to cover it, and never told a soul I was coming. Her words to him, whispered like a sinister secret. "Don't worry, she's used to being left out. She won't even notice." And I realized the truth. They hadn't forgotten me. They had erased me. That evening, I began a folder. Screenshots, emails, Instagram stories, invoices, every proof of long-standing manipulation. Every favor I'd paid for that had never been reciprocated. Every message where they called me part of the family, only to prove I was the last to know and first to pay. I didn't need to act yet. I only needed to watch. Step 1 was complete. I would no longer be invisible. By evening, Camilla sat alone at her kitchen table, the apartment dark except for the laptop screen's pale glow. Every notification she had ignored earlier now felt like a ticking clock, counting down the moment her family would realize their mistake. But she wasn't rushing. She had time, patience, and a quiet fury that sharpened with each passing minute. She opened the folder she had started that morning. Screenshots, emails, invoices, Instagram stories, evidence that Emma had not just excluded her, but systematically used her. It started with the Airbnb. The $12,500 booking she had quietly canceled, the one that should have included her. Then came the other transactions, each one a punchline to a cruel joke she had been living in for years. Emma had tapped into Camilla's generosity without pause. Netflix, Spotify, Amazon Prime, accounts Camilla had trusted. And yet Emma had used them for herself, her friends, even for purchases Camilla had no knowledge of. Hiking gear, ski boots, a brand new parka, all charged to Camilla's card. And the worst? She'd never even gone skiing. Camilla leaned back in her chair, letting the weight of betrayal settle. This wasn't just a family oversight, it was calculated exploitation. Then she found the messages, old ones from Emma, begging for help consolidating debt, using Camilla as a lifeline while promising repayment she never delivered. Everything she had done, every favor, every penny, had been a thread in a tapestry that Emma had pulled tight around herself, leaving Camilla dangling at the edges. Her fingers hovered over her phone. One message, innocuous but damning, was from Zach, Emma's boyfriend. He had sent it nervously, almost apologetically. "I didn't know about any of this. I thought you were just staying back for work. Emma said you volunteered to cover the Airbnb. Then she said you didn't like being around people anymore, that you were fragile." The word fragile made Camilla's jaw tighten. Fragile? They had always misread her quiet nature as weakness. They had mistaken her patience, her generosity, her desire to keep peace for fragility. But today, she wasn't fragile. She was ready. Camilla spent the next hour cross-referencing every piece of evidence, each transaction, each screenshot, each voice memo she found. It painted the same picture. Emma had orchestrated her exclusion. From the cabin bookings to the carefully curated Instagram posts, every move had been planned, every slight intentional. Then came the voice memo, accidentally saved to a shared folder Zach had access to. Emma, laughing, saying to Zach, "Don't worry, she's used to being left out. She won't even notice." Camilla's breath caught. She had heard it clearly this time. Not an accident, not a misunderstanding, a deliberate attempt to erase her from the story, to make her invisible while everyone else played along. Her mind shifted from shock to strategy. She didn't need to respond to frantic calls or messages. She didn't need to justify herself. She had the proof, and with proof came control. Camilla began to organize the evidence into a dossier. Airbnb booking and refund, Amazon and Prime transactions, Netflix and Spotify usage, old messages of manipulation and false promises, the voice memo capturing Emma's cruel intent, Instagram stories and screenshots highlighting exclusion. Every piece told a story, her story, hidden until now. By the time the night deepened and the city outside her window went quiet, Camilla had formed a plan. She wouldn't confront Emma immediately. She wouldn't escalate until she was fully prepared. Tonight was about collecting the truth, documenting every betrayal, and reclaiming her narrative. She sat back, staring at the folder, a calm determination settling over her like a cloak. For the first time in years, Camilla felt visible, not in their eyes, not in the group chat, but in her own. Step 2 would begin soon. Step 2 would be strategic, unyielding, and unforgettable. And she smiled quietly to herself. They thought she wouldn't notice. They thought she would fade into silence. They were wrong. The next morning, Camilla woke with a sense of clarity she hadn't felt in years. Her apartment, usually cluttered with the aftermath of work, Mia's toys, and half-finished chores, now felt like a war room. Every piece of evidence was neatly organized. Every screenshot, every invoice, every voice memo labeled and ready. She dressed carefully, not to impress anyone, but to signal something. Confidence, control, authority. A suit she hadn't worn since an old job interview. Shoes polished, laptop and phone at hand. This wasn't just about a family dinner. This was about reclaiming her life. She arrived at the lodge an hour before the family's reservation, GPS pinned to Emma's posts and Zach's occasional updates. Snow crunched beneath her boots as she approached the building, calm and deliberate. Inside, the room buzzed with familiar chatter. 17 people, her family, already seated, unaware of the storm about to arrive. She paused at the doorway, letting the scene settle in. Mom smiled nervously. Dad poured wine like a senator. Emma scrolled on her phone. Zach looked uneasy. Camilla allowed herself a quiet smile. They had planned everything without her. Tonight, she would rewrite the story. Walking in, she greeted them cheerfully. "Hey, everyone. I heard we were doing Christmas dinner." A few forks froze midair. Eyes widened. Someone muttered, "Oh, Then Emma's voice, sharp, incredulous. "This isn't your reservation." Camilla smiled and placed her laptop on the table. "Actually, it is. Under my name. Check the receipt." The room went still. Dad's jaw clenched. Mom's smile faltered. Emma's eyes darted, searching for a way out. Camilla opened her folder, turning the screen toward the table. Each piece of evidence unfolded like a storybook of betrayal. Airbnb invoice and refund confirmation. Amazon purchases, hiking gear, ski boots, parka, all on her account. Streaming services usage, each one highlighting Emma's exploitation. Voice memo. Emma laughing with Zach, saying, "She's used to being left out. She won't even notice." Old messages where Emma begged for financial favors, screenshots of Instagram posts celebrating their trip while excluding her. Each revelation hit like snowballs on exposed skin. The room went silent, the weight of years of manipulation crashing down. Zach stood, voice shaking. I didn't know any of this. I tried to say she should be included, but she..." Emma's face turned pale, mouth opening and closing, searching for words that weren't there. Camilla leaned forward, voice calm but firm. "You used me, lied to me, erased me, and thought I wouldn't notice. I didn't just pay for trips and gifts, I paid for your narrative, and now the story ends." She placed a small business card on the center of the table, simple, unadorned. It read, "This dinner was paid for by the one you left behind." She closed her laptop and stood. No shouting, no theatrics, just the quiet force of someone who had been invisible too long. The room remained frozen. Chairs scraped. A plate clattered. Someone muttered, "Jesus Christ." Camilla walked out. Outside, snow began to fall lightly, coating the streets in white silence. Behind her, her family sat, speechless, their carefully curated Christmas shattered by the truth she had delivered, not angrily, but inevitably. By the time she returned to her apartment, the evidence had already begun to echo beyond the walls of the lodge. Zach, Emma's boyfriend, drove straight home, posting a subtle but powerful acknowledgement. Sometimes you find out too late that people closest to you can orchestrate cruelty. Camilla didn't respond. She didn't need to. Step 3, the reclaiming of her life, had just begun. The morning after the confrontation, Camilla sat at her apartment window, snow gently dusting the city streets below. Silence, once suffocating, now felt like possibility. She opened her laptop and began to type, not for revenge, not for attention, but for clarity and record. Her post was concise, meticulous. Screenshots of Airbnb invoices, Amazon charges, voice memos, messages, everything neatly documented. Each piece told the story of years of manipulation and exclusion, showing how her family had systematically erased her while expecting her to carry the weight of generosity. She didn't name names immediately, letting the evidence speak for itself. Thousands of people viewed it within hours. Messages poured in. Cousins she hadn't spoken to in years, thanking her for speaking out. Friends, strangers even, sharing similar experiences of being used and silenced. Zach, Emma's boyfriend, reached out privately. "I had no idea. I thought you were just staying back quietly. You didn't deserve any of this." Camilla realized something profound. She wasn't alone. And for the first time, her quiet generosity didn't feel like a weakness. It felt like the foundation of strength. She didn't wait for apologies. She didn't entertain calls from her mother or father demanding explanations. Step 4 was about freedom, not reconciliation. She signed a lease for a downtown apartment with sun-facing windows, far away from the family drama, and carefully unpacked. The first thing she hung on her wall wasn't a trophy. It was a framed photo of the dinner table, frozen in the moment, just before she walked out. A reminder. Never beg to be where you aren't wanted. Social media amplified her story. Thousands liked, shared, and commented. Some people cried, some laughed, some simply nodded in recognition. And quietly, Camilla began receiving unexpected opportunities, invitations to podcasts on toxic family dynamics, content platforms, wanting to license her story, legal advice from firms monitoring identity theft and fraud. Emma tried to pivot. Posts, stories, subtle attempts to recast herself as the victim. Camilla ignored them. Every move was inconsequential compared to the freedom she had reclaimed. By New Year's Eve, she posted one final story, a photo of her cozy apartment, a glass of wine catching the light. Caption: "This year, I unwrapped the truth, and it was better than anything I ever got under the tree." No likes from her family, only hearts from strangers and allies she had never known. She watched fireworks alone, but for the first time, truly free. On January 3rd, she changed her number. No warning, no apologies, just a quiet boundary for her new life. And finally, she placed a small sign in her new co-working space. "Not included," a sanctuary for those who had been left behind. Camilla smiled as she taped a printout of Emma's original message underneath. "He's really not here. OMG, our plan worked." She wasn't invisible anymore. She was seen, strong, and untouchable. She didn't hate them. She didn't wish them harm. She had simply released them, letting their absence remind her who she truly was. Her final Christmas card that year contained only one photo: Camila, standing in front of the "Not Included" sign, smiling softly. No caption, no return address, just one post-it note inside: "Next time, pay for your own vacation." And she never looked back. Weeks passed. Camilla's story had gone viral. The post, meticulously documented, struck a chord far beyond her immediate circle. People shared similar experiences, confiding that they had always been the quiet one, the invisible family member, the one who gave and gave without recognition. Messages poured in, from strangers and distant relatives alike: gratitude, validation, and even admiration. Her family's attempts to reclaim control were futile. Mom sent a message pleading for deletion. Dad threatened legal action. Emma, desperate, tried every social media angle, recasting herself as the victim of the story. Camilla ignored them all. She didn't need validation from people who had consistently chosen convenience over honesty, exclusion over love. Zach, Emma's ex-boyfriend, remained in contact. His support was quiet, not intrusive. A reminder that not everyone close to the family had been complicit. "You did what I never could," he said. "You took back your life." Camilla didn't just take back her life, she reconstructed it. Her new apartment became a sanctuary. No hidden agendas, no exploitative relationships, just her, Mia, and the life they would build on their terms. She framed the photograph from the dinner table, the moment she walked out, as a reminder. Liberation is a choice, not a gift. The co-working space, Not Included, opened quietly but purposefully. Freelancers, creatives, and independent spirits, people who had been overlooked or underestimated, found a home there. Camilla greeted them with calm warmth, sharing her story not as a cautionary tale, but as a blueprint. There is strength in self-recognition, power in boundaries, freedom in independence. Legal matters unfolded as expected. The fraudulent insurance claim Emma had attempted, using Camilla's information, drew scrutiny. Camilla didn't pursue revenge. She documented everything. Emma and her family were forced to face accountability in ways they hadn't anticipated, all while Camilla's life continued to expand in quiet, meaningful ways. By mid-January, Camilla had fully severed contact. Old phone numbers blocked, emails filtered, social media restricted. Her past life, the family that had repeatedly excluded, manipulated, and exploited her, existed only as evidence in her carefully maintained records. And yet, she carried no bitterness. She had released them. She didn't hate them. She didn't long for them. She simply existed for herself, fully and unapologetically. Her final act of closure came in a small, private gesture. She mailed one Christmas card to her parents' house, a single photo of herself in front of the Not Included sign, a soft, confident smile, one post-it tucked inside. "Next time, try paying for your own vacation." No explanation, no drama, just a clear boundary, a personal truth, and a final declaration. She was no longer invisible, no longer silenced, and no longer at the mercy of anyone else's manipulation. Camilla Vega had reclaimed her story, her time, her generosity, and most importantly, her peace. And in the quiet moments, sipping coffee by the window, watching the city stretch out beneath her, she realized she had discovered something rare: freedom born from truth and strength born from choice. She had outgrown them. She had outmaneuvered them. She had finally come home to herself.